this year's Grant Taff Coaching Beyond the Game Award. Please help me welcome back to the stage the man himself, Coach Grant Taff.
Wow, thank you very much. It's great to be back up here again, particularly for this award. Beyond the Game is sweeping America, and we want it to go further because it stands for the right things that coaches and teachers and parents can teach. There's a leader, and the reason for that, and that's D.W. Rutledge, Joe Martin, and the Texas High School Coaches Association have recognized the importance of coaches using the game to teach more than the game of football, beyond the game. The school system here in Texas that has taken the lead is Northside. Dr. Woods gets it. He understands what has to be done, and he has put into effect at Northside beyond the game. The leader for him in that capacity is Stan Laing. Stan Laing and I, well, nearly. That was good. Thank you so much. I'm going to try that again. Stan Laing? No, nothing happened. Okay. But Stan is a leader and really kind of a neat deal. He and I are McMurray Indians. They don't call them that anymore, but I'll always be an Indian. And so we have a lot in connection. But the thing we have in connection that's most important is turning America, child by child, into a positive individual that has great character and work ethic. And Northside, I'm proud to tell you, under the leadership of Dr. Woods and Stan Laing, who is our recipient of the Beyond the Game Award from the Texas High School Coaches Association, is our able winner. And what a wonderful, wonderful man that gets it to be able to give this award to. Stan, come out, please.
Thank you, Coach Taff. You know, I'm very honored and extremely humbled to be recognized for this award today. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. This award is really less about me and more about the people that have gone beyond the game and go beyond the game every day to make a difference. And I've never accomplished anything by myself. And so I want to spend a few minutes recognizing some very special people to me that this award also belongs to. You know, first I want to thank D.W. Rutledge and Coach Taff. Their leadership and laying the foundation here is why all of us are here today. And D.W. and Coach Taff, I can tell you, all I'm doing is just trying to hold on to your coattails. And want to thank you both for the leadership that you provided for all of us. You know, our job as educators is really a calling, and just many hours that we put in is just a way of life. And we can't do what we do without the support that we have from our family, and we all know that because of all these hours that we do put in. My wife Linda has been that support for me, and you know, she's my best friend, and she deserves this Beyond the Game award just for putting up with me. But she's also the best spiritual coach that a husband could ever ask for, and that's an area where I need a lot of coaching up. But Linda, I want to recognize you. I hope you're here. Stand up. Stand up, Linda, so we recognize you. Thank you. For the past 22 years, it's been a blessing to be in the Northside School District, and because of the people I get to be with on a daily basis, they're an extension of my family as well. And those of us in Northside know how fortunate we are to have the leadership that we have in our school district, because excellence in our district doesn't just happen. It takes our superintendent and board of trustees that are committed to laying that foundation for excellence, and for 14,000 staff members and 105,000 students in our school district. You better make sure you have solid leadership, and we have that. And I think their presence, and I'm going to just tell you the thing that means so much to me today is we have our superintendent, both current and former, and a few of our board of trustees that are here that means so much to me. Because it tells you, and I think it sends a very clear message of what they're committed to for all of us making a difference. Members of our Board of Trustees that are here today, I'd like to let you know who they are, and then I'll let you stand together as a team after I introduce those that are here. Mrs. Katie Reed, our President, our Vice President, Mrs. Melissa Chumley, our Trustee, Mrs. Karen Freeman. I think I have everybody, right? That's one, you don't want to leave the Board of Trustees off. They're part of a Board of Trustees that are committed to making a difference and making Northside a great place to be. You know, our superintendent, Dr. Brian Woods, he's as good as it gets as a quarterback in our school district. You know, he's been a tremendous mentor for me as a leader, and I'm very honored to be able to call him a friend as well. You know, his actions and attitude during good times and challenging times are a great example for all of us to follow. As most know, we dealt with some adversity this last fall, and I think our superintendent set the precedence for superintendents not only in the state of Texas but across the nation what it means as a leader to jump down the foxhole when you're supposed to, and he did it the right way. And I think Dr. Woods will agree with this, that our former superintendent, Dr. John Folks, who's here today as well, has been a tremendous leader and a mentor for both of us. Please help me recognize as a team our Board of Trustees and our both current and former superintendents, Dr. Woods and Dr. Folks. Thank you. When you get down in the trenches, and this is where this award really belongs, is with the many people, important people we have in Northside here today as administrators, our other athletic directors, our high school coordinators, and all of our coaches that go beyond the game every day to make a difference. You know, we have over 550 coaches in Northside, and this award is really reflective of their commitment. And if you're in any capacity at Northside, I know I have some other assistant superintendents, deputy superintendents that are here, and along with our coaches, coordinators, directors, will all of you guys please stand up and look at the Northside family that's here to make it today. Coaches, please stand up. It kind of looks like our general coaches meeting. Look, all of them were sitting in the very back. They knew I was speaking today, so they was going to get back in the back. So, you know, I want to go back to Coach Taff and share a quick story about Coach. You know, during the adversity that we were facing this last fall, Coach Taff called me one day, just out of the clear blue. And the first thing he said to me is, "Stan, I've been praying for you so hard, I've worn out both of my knees." You know, I responded to Coach and said, "Coach, put on some knee pads and keep praying because we need all the prayers we can get right now." Little did I know that Coach Taff was dealing with some of his own personal issues at that time. And Coach Taff, I know he's backstage now, but I want to thank him for his capacity to care. And those of us that have listened to Coach talk on numerous occasions, that's one of his pillars, foundations for being a great leader, is to have a capacity to care. And I think we also know Coach doesn't talk a good game, but he lives a great game when it comes to capacity to care. So, Coach, thank you for that. And his capacity to care is really reflective on why all of us are here today. I've been reading a pretty good motivational book. It's also a great how-to book on how we should go about our purpose in life. One of the books in this large motivational book is called Proverbs. Chapter 27, it states, "As iron sharpens iron, so one coach sharpens another." Okay, it doesn't actually say coach. I made that one up. But that's our purpose, and that's why we're here today. All of us are here right now sharpening each other's swords so we can go out and do great things together. Because I can tell you this right now, and you've heard it all morning, the phenomenal speakers that we've had all morning and this afternoon, whoever wants to influence our young people the most in this society, the next generation, they're going to do it. We've talked about we have homes where fathers are absent physically, but guess what? And we know this, coaches, don't we? That we also have homes where both parents are there physically, but they've checked out emotionally when it comes to raising their kids. We also have homes where a sense of entitlement is the norm for their kids. So the question is, are we going to sit back and allow the many influences of society to have that impact, or are we as coaches, administrators, teachers, are we going to use athletics and education as that platform for us when it comes to instilling values and hope for our young people instead of allowing a society that settles for or allows us to settle for mediocrity. Because each of us must have to decide how we're going to use our talents. Now, I think we all know there's several unique talents that different people have in life, right? But there's one universal talent that every one of us possess. Every one of us sitting in this room has this universal talent, and it's the ability to make a difference in someone's life. You know, sometimes this talent, we take it for granted. And unfortunately, we don't spend the time that we need to develop that talent. The how-to book I mentioned, it says we're not made for mediocrity. In fact, in 1 Corinthians, it says we should always run the race to win. It also says, though, that you have to prepare and train for the race. For all of us, it's critical that we are intentional in preparing ourselves every day for that race to make a difference. Because as adults, we need to hold each other accountable to sharpening our swords. Because before you make a stand, you better know what you stand for. Because this is the only way you're going to be able to put into context what the difference you think is going to make in young people's lives. The core of what we do as educators and coaches is also laid out in this how-to book. In a book called Romans in chapter 5, it explains how our purpose is connected. And I hope you really listen to this, because in essence, you've heard this all day today. But these are 4 words that really puts it all into connection for us. It simply states, adversity builds endurance, endurance builds character, and character builds hope. We know in our world of athletics, just like life, the success evolves from adversity. Through adversity, we learn to never give up, creating endurance. Through this endurance comes character needed to succeed, and with the strong foundation of character comes hope. Not hope so, but know so is created when you have people committed to going beyond the game to be there to coach up and pick up our young people when they're going through tough times. Research has shown the one thing that moves the needle more than anything when it comes to our success, especially young people, comes down to one word and an attitude of they're in a place where they feel like there's always hope. I believe with all my heart that hope changes everything. You know, as our Northside Beyond the Game video states, we have to make it personal. You know, I want to finish by sharing a personal story with you. Now, I'm only sharing this with you, so you can put into context why I'm standing here today, and also for you guys to understand the awesome opportunity that you have to make a difference in somebody's life. You know, I know we all have our story. If we go back and connect the dots in our lives, there's going to be some defining moments that happen in our lives while we're all sitting here today. You know, I grew up in a fatherless home, but I want to make this note before I go on with my story. After I grew up, I reconnected with my biological dad, and we had a very close, wonderful relationship until he passed away. But I was born and grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I know when you think of Vegas, you think of all the bright lights, right? Well, the neighborhood I grew up in wasn't so bright. You know, my parents divorced when I was 4 years old. I had 2 half-brothers and 2 half-sisters. All of them were at least 10 years older than me, so as a young boy, I could see the path that they were going down. 2 of them graduated from high school, 2 of them dropped out of high school. So I guess you'd say as a young boy, I felt like, well, I guess I got 50-50 chance of graduating from high school. My mom had an 8th grade education. She's very, obviously with this limited education, along with some serious health issues that she had to deal with after she sustained a gunshot wound when I was 6 years old, limited her in what she could do, and that's a whole nother story. But you can imagine she was very limited in what she could do to make a living. Our survival depended on welfare and government housing, and I know there's many today that are very critical of that type of government support, but I can tell you in my situation, if it wasn't for that support, we'd have been homeless and not sure where our next meal would come from. Speaking of that next meal, I can remember before there were food stamps that we got to take to the grocery store and buy groceries, there was a distribution center we'd go to once a month to pick up a box of food, and that would last us for the month. And inevitably, it seemed like every month, at the end of the month, all that was left in that box was a box of powdered milk and government processed cheese. Pretty limited on what you could do with a menu with those 2 items. I was just in an environment where it did seem hopeless at times. many times. And this type of environment exposed me to a lot of negative things, from drug and alcohol abuse to domestic violence and everything in between. And unfortunately, things like values often gave way to whatever it took to survive. To be honest, in junior high, I wasn't really interested in hearing from a coach talking about values necessarily, because everything did seem hopeless. Except for one thing, and this is how I made my connection, and it was athletics. It gave me some semblance of hope, because not necessarily because of athletics itself, because of the coaches there cared for me. Then came a defining moment in my life. To make a long story short, my mom decided my sophomore year that we need to move to San Angelo, Texas. You talking about from Vegas to San Angelo, you talking about culture shock now. You know, after a year, things didn't work out. My mom decided to move back to Vegas. My high school coach, Paul Stein, and his wife, Jan, had an idea what kind of environment I would be going back to, opened their home up to me and their two small children. I think we followed all the UIL rules at that time. If not, hopefully there was a statute of limitations on that. You know, because I know, I averaged 20 points and 14 boards a game, so that may have raised a few eyebrows. I don't know, one of the pictures, is there a picture y'all have of both Coach and I together? Maybe not. We'll just go with that one, because you didn't want to see what I looked like anyway back then. I sported a really nice afro that was probably the best looking afro anybody ever saw in San Angelo, Texas. But when I look at this picture, I see a Jewish coach that grew up in the Bronx in New York, that was there for a hopeless kid from Vegas, of all places. We came together in San Angelo, Texas. Talking about connecting the dots, go figure how that happened. You know, I see a coach that had a very clear understanding why he is here. My hope is every one of us in here have a very clear understanding why we are here. I see a coach that knows what it means to pay it forward, because someone made a difference in his life. My hope is that you're committed to paying it forward because you remember someone in your life that made a difference. I see a coach that didn't just talk a good game when it came to values. He was intentional in showing what good values looked like through his actions. My hope is your actions speak much louder than your words when it comes to instilling the values in the young people that you're coaching today. I see a coach being used by God as an instrument of hope for a young man who had no idea what hope was. My hope for everyone in here, and however you practice your faith, that you truly ask, and then you allow God to use you as an instrument of hope for the young people that you're coaching today. You know, of course, the picture that was supposed to be up with me as well, I'd say I'm not so young today, but I'm very committed to paying it forward because somebody made a difference in my life and trying to help coaches see the potential that they have. Because you know what we do is more than a job description. It's just a way of life. You know, before I sit down, I want to say this again. This award is not about me. It's about those in my life that made a difference. You know, I'm so thankful today that my high school coach and his wife were here today to share this award with me. Paul and Jan, I want to thank you both for the difference that you made in my life. It's allowed me to make a difference in others' lives because of you, and God using you as an instrument of hope. I love you both dearly. Will both of you please stand, but all of y'all help me recognize Coach, his wife Jan.